Good afternoon. My name is Sarah. Could you tell me your full name, please?
Good afternoon. Yes, my name is Bob Williams.
Thank you, Bob. And could I see your identification, please?
Sure, just a moment. Here you are.
Thank you. That's fine. Now, in this first part, I'd like to ask you some questions about yourself and where you live. Let's talk about your hometown. Where is your hometown?
I'm from a city called Brighton. It's on the south coast of England, right by the sea.
Is that a big city or a small place?
I'd say it's more of a medium-sized city. It's not huge like London, but it's definitely not a small town either. And it feels quite busy, especially during the summer months.
How long have you lived there?
I've lived there for most of my life, actually, about 28 years now. I did move away briefly for university, but apart from that, I've always gone back.
What is your town well known for?
Well, it's known for a few things. The beach and the pier are probably the most famous, but it's also quite well known for its arts and music scene. And there's a very relaxed and open atmosphere that a lot of people really like.
Do you like your hometown?
Yes, I do. I mean, no place is perfect, of course, but I really enjoy living there. I like being close to the sea, and there's always something happening, so it never feels boring.
Do you think you will continue living there?
For now, yes. I work as a waiter at a restaurant there, and my life is pretty settled at the moment. That said, I might like to live abroad at some point, just to experience something different, but I'd probably come back in the long run.
How has your town changed over the last 10 years?
It's changed quite noticeably. There's been a lot more development, especially new apartment buildings and cafes, and tourism has increased a lot as well. On the downside, though, housing has become much more expensive, which has made life harder for some local residents.
Thank you. Now I'm going to give you a topic, and I'd like you to talk about it for about 2 minutes. Before you talk, you'll have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say. You can make some notes if you wish. Describe a wild animal that you want to know more about. You should say what it is, when you saw it, where you saw it, and why you want to know more about it. You can start preparing now. All right, you may begin.
Okay, I'd like to talk about the snow leopard, which is a wild animal I'd really like to know more about. I first saw it a few years ago in a documentary filmed in the mountains of Central Asia, in places like Nepal and Mongolia. And what really stood out to me was how almost invisible it was in the snowy landscape. Later on, I also saw snow leopard in a wildlife park, and although it wasn't in its natural environment, it was still fascinating to watch because it moved very quietly and calmly, and seemed quite mysterious. The main reason I want to know more about snow leopards is that they're extremely rare and endangered, and because they live in very remote areas, scientists still don't know everything about their behavior. So I'm especially interested in how they survive in such harsh conditions and how humans can protect them without disturbing their natural way of life.
Thank you. Now, let's talk a bit more about wild animals in general. Why do you think wild animals should be protected?
Well, there are a few reasons, really. First of all, wild animals are an essential part of the natural world, and each species plays a role in keeping ecosystems balanced. So if one animal disappears, it can, affect many others. And I think another important point is that many animals are endangered because of human activities, like pollution or cutting down forest. So protecting them is also about taking responsibility for our actions.
What is more important, protecting the environment or protecting wild animals?
That's a tricky one. Personally, I don't really see them as separate things because wild animals depend completely on their environment. And if the environment is damaged, animals don't really stand much of a chance. If I had to choose, I'd probably say protecting the environment comes first, just because a healthy environment naturally supports wildlife. But in reality, they really need to be protected together.
Should children be educated about the importance of protecting wild animals?
Yes, absolutely. I think education is key here. If children learn about wild animals from a young age, they're more likely to develop respect and empathy instead of fear, and that can shape how they behave as adults. For example, they might grow up being more environmentally aware or more willing to support conservation efforts, which can make a big difference in the long term.
Why is it important to protect very rare animals?
Well, one obvious reason is that once a species becomes extinct, it's gone forever, and there's no way to bring it back. Beyond that, rare animals often have unique characteristics that we still don't fully understand, and they can be important for scientific research or even future medical discoveries. So losing them could mean losing knowledge and opportunities we don't even realize exist yet.
Are there any wild animals in your town, and how are they treated?
Yes, there are actually. Even though it's quite an urban area, we still see animals like foxes, especially at night, and lots of seabirds because the city's near the coast. Most people are fairly tolerant, I'd say, although some animals like seagulls can be a bit annoying. But overall, there are laws to protect wildlife, and people generally understand that these animals were here long before humans, so they deserve to be treated with respect.
Thank you, Bob. That is the end of this speaking test.